So I just took a long in gold, and what happened is we came in and put in this high volume area here on this push down into this previous demand area, came down and tested this low volume node from this previous supply, held our LVN here, came all the way up, put in a new overnight high, and had strong buying coming back in here. So put in this little value structure and a small supply push. And then what happened is we put in this small structure here, and then I got this trigger here, and I entered at about 2099. Expectation is to come up and break these weak tops up here into this little supply drop here, and I took that off for plus 36. Very little drawdown. Trade worked out perfectly. Looks like I had a great exit on that one, and anywhere into this above this last seller is untested supply, and so I took that off for plus 36 right around this 2013 60, and now we've come all the way back down now to pretty much back to my entry. So it looks like it was a real good exit. Nice first trade of the day. Along the ES, came down to put in a new overnight low and increased volume here back into the structure. It looks like short term we have possibly some sellers trapped here. Well, I need this to hold, and going to look to come back up into this supply drop here into the LVN around the 42.3150. I'm already down a couple points, so hopefully this low here holds and we can get a little push up here. A little bit of volume coming in. I need this to push up above this last seller. And again, we could see price all the way back up into the 35.75, but I'm probably going to take this off a little lower. A little bit of volume coming in here. This needs to hold this area and go. I will de-risk when we push above this last seller here. This is the last area to hold here before I kill this trade, I think. De-risked below this last low now. little bit of compression buying coming in on that last bar. See what happens here. Get this push, and I will be de-risking. And if we get a little push above, we'll have some nice structure to lean on from the above now. It's trying. All right, one tick above. Just need a little push here. Risk off now. Have some volume on the offer at 31.75, but we have some potential shorts trapped here now. If we drop down below my entry down in here, I don't really want to be in this trade anymore. Entry 26.75. Well, there's a ton of potential for weakness here, but I'm going to just take it into this supply at the 36.50 because that's everything else has been tested. Even this area is fairly weak here, these tops, but there is this little bit of supply here. Increased volume again, a little bit on this last one, so definitely a little bit of selling here still, but now we have this whole structure to hold and the potential for a little bit of trapped shorts. Just need to get a little lucky now. Got to hold this LVN now from above. Nothing crazy on the volume side. It's still just back and forth trade. It's a nice little response there. But I got to survive a pullback now. No, it's not looking good. And that's taken out there. Break even. Came back to the tick and took me out, and here is my first trouble target, 30.75 for 4 points. We'll see if we can push back up into this area, but not the best management on that one. The pullback here was to be expected, where we would find these short-term sellers getting pushed out, and now we're moving up. That limit seller has just partially traded at the 30.75. Little spike down here, and it's on 630, and see if that's looks like that's going to hold. And there's my target all the way up to the 35.75. So unfortunately, that was not the best trade management, but this spike out would have likely got me anyway down to the 26. Short the ES here, pushed below this volume, this big volume here, this last buyer. And we do have some issues with the short here down below. We had a pretty big limit buyer down below, but I'm going to see if I can get this area to hold and push down at least into that low, but we have a very weak low here. Expectation is for that to get taken out. So it's kind of make or break. We have a little bit of limit buying going in here, but I think the longs are in trouble. We'll see. Definitely some buying coming in here now. And it looks like that's holding, and I just got taken out break even. So reassess now. This is the volume that I was talking about, this buying here, these buyers here being on the wrong side, stop above here, large limit buying down here. So it's definitely a fight, but what I'm looking to take out is this structure and these weak lows. I mean, this is not a strong low by any means. So it doesn't mean that it can't hold and this can go higher, but I definitely like the short idea and context to come all the way back down into this previous value area from yesterday to take out these lows, and anywhere in here would be a good target. This limit buyers looks like they are still definitely in this market, so the safe exit would have been the 24.25, which still would have been good for 5 points here. So now this doesn't bode as well for the short sellers here with this high volume buying coming in, and now we are pushing above, and it's potential that we could come up in and take out the top side of the structure. So sellers being that it looks like they're losing this battle in the short term, but it's definitely can go either way. I just feel like with this structure down below, this weak low, this is likely to get taken out at some point, but you never know what's going to happen. So this structure has been taken out to the upside, and sellers being trapped all in this value area now, and we've pushed above. So my context read for the short is not really in play anymore until we get all the way back down into this value. So clues for that were that strong limits buying coming in here, although came up, selling came in. These buyers were still in the market here around the 42.25 and then again here, and they were not able to take out these lows. So you had definitely a weak low here still, but then a real strong imbalance higher. So that's a, rather than getting stuck in the short side trade and trying to get in another short here, I just wanted to see what happened when we approached this limit buying here, and now we're much higher. So idea on the trade was not right. Tried one short in here, took it off for a break even, could have taken it off for a win into this volume when we came back into this area, when we saw and found out that there were still buyers here. Still 5 points, which would have been nice rather than a break even, but in the short term, the sellers definitely lost this battle. Another thing to notice on this is that we definitely had strong selling coming in here, and the imbalance is down, but aside from these highs already being taken out, there was still definitely some weakness to the upside here, all through here. don't really have a strong read here either way. I'm leaning a little bit more to the long side. If we can hold this structure, test this volume, push back up, but then we definitely have some limit selling coming in from up here. So, and then for the short side trade, we need to regain this value and then hold the structure from below, and then that this weak low would be back in play. But really can see either long or short side trades from here. Taking a long here, we have formed this value area here, and we pushed up above that area, tested back down into the value, and now my expectation is that we get back up into this high tick area at least. I think we could get much higher, but I think a good exit here is going to be to take it off around this 42.21, and risk is going to be off here now. I don't want to see this high tick here and then push lower. So definitely some increase in volume coming in here, and we need to hold and go if my read on this is correct, but now I just got to let the trade play out. Targeting this LVN is also potentially possible, 42.22, but with this high volume high tick here, I think the 20.75 is it's a nice win and a nice target on that trade. Talking about where the liquidity is, having all of these short-term shorts trapped on this push down. Not a whole lot of interest down here below the low. Not a real strong low. We one ticked the low here, but I definitely like the long context. And if we break above this LVN here, I mean, we have really untested all the way up to the 24.75 would be also a good upside target. This needs to hold, have some volume coming in here. And this is looking good for my trade now. Now we just got to see if we're going to have any new sellers coming in. This is somewhat of trouble into this area, so we could see selling coming in anywhere. But I really like the trade here, and it's looking real nice for a move up. I'm going to lock in something here. We have this volume, large volume here. Wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback to that area, but it's looking good. A little bit of increased volume here now. I'll be watching this high volume area from this high tick. Pretty large selling came in here before, so I'm going to be looking to manage this now. And this area needs to hold, and okay, really don't want the pullback all the way to where it could come back close to that 42.16 LVN area. So there's also some pretty big volume there, but I want to give this a little bit of chance to push higher here. Got some volume here. My target price was hit, but didn't fill, didn't trade through, so that's it. Out for, that was a nice trade on that one. Out for, let's see, 8 points on that one. Exit was 20.75 right here at that high tick, and looking like a pretty good exit so far. I'm going to talk about my short. I didn't get it on the recording. I was continued after we pushed down below this LVN, came down here. We had some strong buying coming in here, but then kind of this spike out area through here held this LVN and reversed. Kelly took a nice long short at the low side. I passed on it because we had this low side of range. I didn't want to be the seller at the low side of range. He thought it was likely to have these lows taken out, which I did as well, but I just didn't feel comfortable. So I took almost a 4-point loss trying to get short here, and then got spiked out and then missed the short opportunity all the way through these lows. But that's all right. That's how it goes sometimes. Taking another long trade here on the ES, kind of the top of the range, but we pushed down into this LVN and we've rejected once here, back into this demand, twice here, and now I'm looking to come back and take these tops out. We had definitely some selling up here, some limit selling, but I like this idea to come back in to take these tops out, and all the way up we have potential to go up into the 42.40 if we can break above this range here. This volume needs to hold. We have some potential shorts, these last shorts trapped now. I'm going to hold the trade. Hopefully I don't have to take too much drawdown on this one, but pulling back to the volume in this small little minor LVN here. If we get a push up, I'll probably reduce risk below this low at the 2650 or 25, I guess it is. Have some increased volume coming in. Hopefully I can stay above it. Nice little push there. And I'd like to see this go. Increased volume, nice increase of volume there. I am going to reduce risk down below this low at 25. A 1.5 of risk now. This volume needs to hold or this trade is over. That's probably it for me on this one. Last chance. That's a 1.5 loss there. Read on that last trade was pretty good. Came all the way up to the 32.75, which was well below my target, back up into this previous supply, and sold off back down. So this would likely have been a +1 break-even trade with a fair amount of equity, about 5-6 points of equity. And now we're pulling back to this area, so I would be pretty uncomfortable in this trade. Still potentially have all of these sellers trapped in this trade, but some limit selling coming back in here. So read, context, and everything was pretty spot on this trade. Just a little bit of mismanagement, I would say. My original stop down below this LVN would have been ideal. 39.75 hit, which is 13 full points, and I ended up on the losing side by a 1.5. And now you can see us rejecting that 39.75 or holding it, some volume coming in, and pretty good read on that one, and likely to see if we're going to hold this LVN here from above now and move higher or fall back into range.